In this second tutorial for the CRM Sales and Marketing Database, I'm going to go ahead and go to the sales team. What this screen is used for is you have a team member in the sales and marketing group that puts their name in the record by creating a new record. You do that by coming over here and tapping on the new record to create a new record. Each time you add a new client to this database, you will not create a new record. What you'll do is come down to the portal down here where there are two current client records in there. You click in the next row, go ahead and enter your information for that new client that you're going to put in there. Or what you may want to do is take all your existing clients and go ahead and put them in right now in the client database portion for that particular salesperson. The background for this screen is that each salesperson has their own individual clients that they're maintaining. You can have a sales division. For example, this might be the Eastern division or whatever. It might be by city. It could even be down if you have enough salespeople by county or city. It just really depends on your needs. Now, if you're going to search for one or more, say like you have 100 or 500 particular clients, what you would do is you can go view the record of any record, and then once you're in that record, you would use the find over here on the do action menu. You would say start a find, and what it'll do is it'll flip over the screen, and then you can go ahead and enter a find in any of the records above here. Now I want to point out, you cannot search in a multi-line portal record. You can only go to the actual record in that portal and then go ahead and change that data or do a find going in here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go show you how to conclude the find by doing perform find. Now you should have entered some data in here for it to search for in these fields above. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, well, I don't want to do the find anymore. I'm just going to cancel and it'll flip the record back over. Now if I wanted to search on somebody as a client, I would click here, go to the client screen, and if it wasn't the record I wanted, I can go ahead and do another find and put any part of the information in, the company name or whatever you want as far as the fields or any of the fields that are included in here. That could include the client notes. You could have a word or a phrase or whatever in there, or even a sentence where you typed out the data for it or any part of it and it'll find it. What I want you to notice while we're in here too is you have the developers video help, which you're using to see these videos. And if you have questions or need support, you can click on the developer support. It'll take you to the developer's website where you can go ahead and add questions either by email or you can chat online when there's support between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. You can see in this particular drop-down list that there is a perform find, which we were talking about using. Once you have done the find and found the items that you want or one of the two number of records, what you do next is to go ahead and when you're done with the find and you want to go back to the normal records, click on show all. What that'll do is it'll bring back all the records except for the ones that are omitted. Now in show all, if you go back in after a normal find, it should return all records. But what does omit do? Say for example, I had a record here or 3 or 4, especially when you're looking at a list view and maybe you want to do a find for a certain amount of records and then you want to eliminate 1 or 2. What you would do is you'd say omit the record for each one that you want to get out in a list view, and then the remaining ones could either be printed or whatever you want to do with them, export them or whatever. Now what you can also do, which is kind of interesting, say like you're in a list view and you've omitted some records, but you want those to be the only records to show once you've omitted them. What you would do is you'd omit 1 to the number of records you want to bring up in the current selection. Then you would click on the show omitted records and it will reverse what you did. It'll show all the records you omitted and they would be the ones shown now in the list view. Okay, then what you would do to go after you're done using that, printing or reading or whatever, you can click show all and you'll notice in the list view they'll all come back again. The next thing you're going to see in here is the go to first record. If you click that, the first record in selection, in this case it's the CID number 1, that would be the first record shown. If I wanted to go to the next record in the sequence, you can see that it changed up here and now I'm looking at another client's record. If I wanted to go to the prior record, I would click on prior record and that would bring me back to the previous record I was looking at, or I can go all the way to the end and say send me to the last record in the list. Now this can happen if you're already made a find and you're maybe 5 or 6 records and you want to go to the last one in those 5 and 6. This would do it. But if you have 1,000 records in there, it's going to go all the way to the bottom of 1,000 records in a list view, and that would be the bottom and last record. The next thing you're going to see here is the print records. This is pretty interesting. This allows you, if you have a Wi-Fi printer with an iPad or something that allows you to print through Wi-Fi, you can go ahead and use this screen to print. Now, if you do not have a printer attached or one available, you won't be able to select your printer because you don't have it. In this record, what you're doing is you actually have the ability to print to the current records that are in selection or the found set. The found set is the reduced amount. For example, when we did a find where you have a found set, the current record is the one individual record that you're viewing. Or if you have all current records in selection, meaning all the records that are available, then it'll print them all or show them all. So, and you can also do these down here like blank records. You can omit them and so forth as far as whatever if you want to. Over here you can select the page range. You might want to only do maybe 1 or 2 pages on a thing that has pages, and you would put in the number of pages, or you can put in here all pages, page range. Next one is the paper size. If you click in for paper size, you can see you do European and US and overseas size paper and envelopes and tabloid. Now the screens have to be set up for those particular screen sizes. Typically, if you have a paper size for A4, you can also play this little thing where you can reduce the percentage in the size of the screen, 50, 25, or you can put in a custom size for printing. You can also come over here on scale, and you can come in here in orientation and do a portrait or a landscape. Normally, I've set up all the print things that you would want to use, like an invoice or whatever, in portrait, but you can do landscape. Say if there were a large number of records and you wanted to get out to show them all, you could do that by this. Or what you can do is scale up or scale down the image size. Here's another nice thing. You can do a PDF and say take it of the view you're looking at and make a PDF out of it. Or you can say email whatever the screen has on it in a PDF, or save it as a PDF. So you have a lot of choices in there. And of course you can always just print by coming up and clicking print. And when you click the print, you're going to get another dialog that shows the copies, and you can say how many copies and so forth, and it's showing you what the print's going to look like on the existing page. You can cancel out of here, and now you're back to this screen. The next thing we're going to be covering in the next video is the client screen, and we're going to show you how these items here are used. But let's go back for just a moment so we can close out the sales team screen. You're going to be seeing this later. We're going to go look at the product line, which is accessible from here, or what you can do is use the list view for product line and go in and see the product line. And this is an important item right here. You've got the dollar symbols or money symbols for 53 countries in here. So any field that has a money characteristic to it, you'll see up there when you change this globally. If you change it from one to another record and they pop up, you can click on the dollar sign or whatever the country is that you want to have the dollar sign show up for money symbols. It will be shown in the screen.